non-full screen. I love how low-tech our panels always are. I'm sure someone in some other panel is like playing music and has like an animated something or other on the screen, and we're just like, I don't know, push a button. Is that working? Whatever. That's great.
Right here?
Walking Dead, it's a small thing. Like, it's okay to have a crappy panel every now and then. We don't have any expectations to live up to. Huh? Yeah, when he puts it, I know you think you can fix it, but when he puts it into slideshow, that's when it goes black, like the computer can't. By the way, this is my favorite panel I've ever done so far. I hope that this lasts all the way to the end, and then everyone just goes home unhappy. Like, this panel goes so badly that everyone leaves from here and goes directly home. They're like, I'm not doing any more Comic-Con. That slideshow didn't work. I couldn't handle it. We always fake having technical difficulties so that we have that moment. Welcome to whatever this panel is called. I believe it is Walking Dead 10th anniversary. I have no idea. Like I say, Sean Makowitz, Skybound's editorial director here. He's the director of all things editorial.
Not technically.
That's great. So anyway, everybody hear me all right? Should I start? Yeah, look, hey, The Walking Dead debuted in October of 2003, which is, coming up on 10 years here this October, so we're all very excited that the book has actually lasted 10 years. I'm very shocked. I don't mean to be looking in this direction at all times. I apologize. You're of value as well. Just leaning towards the mic because I'm tall, and I feel like if I get up here, no one will be able to hear me. I don't know. You're correct. So anyway, we're going to be doing some stuff for the 10th anniversary because I guess you have to do things to like celebrate anniversaries in comics because it's cool. So what we're doing here is what's our next slide? What are we doing? All right, The Walking Dead All Out War, which is going to be a pretty big deal. It starts in issue 115, which will come out in October, and that will kick off a 12-part storyline that will ship over the course of 7 months. So we'll actually be producing the issues at a pretty fast clip. It's going to be a huge storyline that is a culmination of everything that's been happening in the book thus far. As you know, Rick died in the last issue, so we're going to be following up that with is that issue not out yet? I'm sorry. Jeez. Anyway, he's on the cover. Anyway, I think I spoiled the next issue. Like, it ends with Negan like, oh, you're screwed. It's like, not really. He's on the cover of 115. He gets out of it somehow. So anyway, Negan and the Saviors have been kind of causing a lot of trouble, to put it lightly. And these people have had it. And we've seen the Hilltop and this new area of the kingdom that's run by Ezekiel aligning with Rick and his group of survivors, and now they're going to try and take Negan down, but that is going to prove to be more difficult than they expected, so difficult that it might take 12 issues if it happens at all. So, it's going to be a cool storyline. It's something that I've had planned since the very beginning of the book. I always wanted to get to a point where civilization is actually being rebuilt to the point where the kind of conflicts that we have now in our everyday lives start to come back to the forefront. And once you are living a regular life and when things do seem fine, you get into squabbles that turn into wars. So it's a really cool evolution for the book. I'm really excited that we've gotten to this point, and I appreciate all of you for supporting this book for 10 years so that we can actually make it here. And thanks for coming to the panel. So, in order to do 12 issues in 7 months, we're bringing on a guy named Stefano Gaudiano, who is the guy that inked this piece right here by Charlie Edwards. So, we're bringing a new guy into the mix to help facilitate getting the art done at a steady pace. And we're really excited about that. It's our first new addition to the Walking Dead team in almost a decade, so it's really cool to bring him on. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I haven't met him. He could be a horrible person, I have no idea. But he's a good anchor, so that is all that matters. And we brought him on, so it's really cool. And I'm guessing that pin-up piece thing will probably be a cover or something at some point. I have no idea. Very cool. What we got here? We got these are some upcoming covers for the All Out War storyline. This is for Chapter 2, issue 116. Look at that. Totally keeping track of the numbers. And that's gives you a sense that the storyline does kind of ramp up fairly quickly. There's not going to be a lot of build-up to conflict. It kind of just hits the ground running. So they're shooting at each other. It's like, watch out, Holly, those guys are right behind you. And that's the cover to 117. Yeah, look at that. Bad things are afoot. Jesus is standing there looking all cool. The left side is green, the right side is blue. Really good covers. I should mention we've got Dave Stewart, one of the best colorists who's ever worked in comics, has come on and he's taken over on covers and he's colored all these covers, and he's very talented. So Stefano Galliano is not the only person we're bringing on to the team. Dave Stewart also coming along for the ride. Very excited about that. Another thing we're doing for the 10th anniversary celebration is we're releasing a special edition of Walking Dead issue 1 that is in full color. That's colored by Dave Stewart. So that'll be out in October to commemorate the 10th anniversary, which is in October. So if you want to get that, we'll also have all kinds of bonus stuff in the back, and it'll be very cool for the 10th anniversary. All right, and then you've possibly seen this. This is our banner image. It's a big all-out war thing. All-out war. It's going to be awesome. That's all I got. So let's open this thing up to questions before you guys get bored. Is there a microphone? I think there's a microphone right there. Is there a microphone anywhere else? Great. All right, let's chat it up. Let's talk about the 10th anniversary. You guys can ask me questions about Norman Reedus I can't answer. And it'll be a lot of fun. There's the Telltale video game. Different things to discuss. You guys should all go to the Walking Dead Escape. It's an obstacle course where you can actually get chased by zombies. They're not allowed to bite you though, so if they bite you, you should tell someone. What's up, Katie?
I'm actually from Kentucky, where you're from, and I was just wondering when you're going to come to Lexington Comic Con. It would be awesome.
I'm very busy, and I'm also too big. But I try not to. I'm kidding. It's really just a matter of scheduling. I'd really like to. I also will always maintain that panels like this are not the appropriate time to ask someone to go to another convention.
Sorry, it's just home.
No, it's good. No, I love Kentucky. I was just there recently. I was eating Spalding's Donuts, which are fantastic. If you are in Lexington, you should come to Spalding's Donuts. They're delicious. Awesome. Probably ate too many of them. So,
I find Negan the new villain very entertaining and intriguing, and I was wondering if we're going to ever hear any more about his backstory through the comics or through a medium of a novel like you did with the Governor.
yeah, I mean, I like that he's, pretty much an unknown. There's, not a lot that anybody knows about his backstory, and that's definitely something that we'll get into. You'll get snippets of it as we move forward, assuming he doesn't die next issue. I mean, who knows? But yeah, you'll find out a little bit more about that guy moving forward. Cool. I like how everyone is like crouching down while they're waiting in line so that they don't block anybody's view. I would not do that. That would be uncomfortable. This guy's like, I'm standing. What's up? It's all good.
My question is, in the TV series, a lot of the key characters that died off have stayed alive longer than the key characters in the comic series. So with them, they had a lot of story arcs aren't as effective since there's no shock.
You don't know that.
Okay. Well, what I'm asking is like, are you going to skip some story arcs like the one with the hunters, the characters dying in the TV series, and then loop back around?
I mean, the honest answer is I can't answer that because it would reveal too much of what's coming up in the show. So all I can say is, there are storylines, like the Hunter's storyline that, seem very important to the overall story, and it would be unfortunate to skip them. If storylines like that do end up being skipped, it's because we have other things that we want to do in the show that we feel are better. But the death of any characters in the show are not going to preclude us, from doing any of those storylines. So just because, I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know who's watched what, but just because those characters died in season 3 doesn't mean that we're not going to do the Hunter storyline. Doesn't mean that we definitely will, but there are other ways to do that stuff.
Thank you.
Cool.
I saw that you're doing number 1 in full color, and then we all know that's going to sell mad copies.
You never know.
Yeah, no, it's gonna blow up. So is there a plan to do more when that's successful?
Yeah, on the 20th anniversary, we'll do issue 2.
That's not gonna work for me. I'm gonna need something sooner than that. One other thing, what software do you use when you write? I mean, please don't say it's just pages or Word.
Just pages. Which is awful because I have to export it to a Word document. I know it can read that, like, every now and then I'll work until, like, it's happened a couple times where I'll work until, like, 2 in the morning to get something done so that the artists can work on it the next morning. And then I'm half asleep, and so I send them the Pages document on accident. So I wake up the next morning and they're like, I'm just sitting here waiting for you to send me a document I can actually open.
Well,
So I should really come up with a better system, but I'm extremely lazy when it comes to technology. I'm like, I don't know, that works.
All right, for my money,
You're like a software guy that has like a software thing that
yeah,
works?
I created Celtics, I don't know if you've heard that.
What's
Yeah.
up?
No, I just want to say, for my money, it was getting me better than Walking Dead, and I keep doing you, man.
Thank you. Even though I write things pages.
So you have the, the specials, like the one-shot theory story, government story, Michonne story, and then you have like the government books, and I know you plan on doing more, probably Michonne, she seems to be popular for some reason. But I feel like you're forgetting about Dale. I'd like to see his story about, him and his wife when they first started going on vacation, and how he met Andrea.
No one is going to buy a Dale novel. I don't know.
Even a one-shot, it doesn't have to be a novel.
As soon as I can do it.
Do it. Don't make me cry.
No, I mean, I try to be really selective with that stuff just because I don't want to do a lot of it. Like, when Michonne is introduced in the show, that seems like a cool time to reprint, Michonne's first appearance with another story. I mean, it was really odd. Like, we do like a governor thing for a charity story, and then the Michonne story was done for Playboy, and I want to make sure people have access to that stuff. And so, that's why we do this reprint stuff. But I haven't really had a reason to do a Dale story because it sucks. And so,
I'm wearing his hat.
I noticed that
You're hurting my
feelings.
feelings. I have a hurt leg, and you're hurting my feelings.
Just making it all consistent. Keep crying, buddy. It's what I live on.
I don't know how to back that one. I mean, Dale's tainted me as far as I remember. Anyway, also, as a side note, I love that the anniversary issues, the show is going black and white, but the first issue is going color. So I like
Flip
the...
flop, man. We're like ships passing in the night.
First I had a quick comment that hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, but...
Oh, careful now.
Yeah, it's the 10th anniversary of town, but the end of Glenn really messed me up, I mean, sorry. Comic book's already out, people. Yeah. So I know they foreshadowed that in the last one. Yeah, the last one too. What is it, 150? Somewhere. But how?
Wasn't 150. I wish.
How is that, the Glenn gonna really play into this battle that's going on? You can see that Rick is still really hurt by that Carl is really hurt by that a lot of people are actually motivated by how Negan started this conflict in the first place. And I think that, or I just wondered how Glenn is really gonna come to play just in that scenario.
Well, I mean, that was really like the catalyst that set all this into motion, and it's something that's definitely going to be, on everyone's minds while they try to deal with this stuff. And it is something that will crop up from time to time. And there's a lot of stuff coming up with Maggie that will, deal with those events and, how she's dealing with it and where it takes her as a person. So, while he, is no longer in the book, maybe, I'm not confirming anything, spoiled, you never know. His presence will very much be felt, and it is kind of at the center of everything that's going on right now.
Goes to Glenn a la Ben Kenobi style or something.
Yeah, we're doing that too.
All right, thanks. By the way,
Rick, go to take a look.
Hi. My question is like really unoriginal, but I kind of just want to ask a question.
Can you spoil something too? That seems really popular.
Yeah. But I just want to know who your favorite character is.
I can't, well, I mean,
Like, you don't have to pick one, there's all these special.
I've had favorite characters in the past and then I killed them, but I'm personally every character in the book, so I could be like, oh, I really like Rick, I really like Andrew, I really like Michelle.
Yes.
Like, I always worry that if I get too, open with, my feelings for these characters, people will think, oh, they're safe, or they're not safe, or I don't know. But I mean, my favorite characters historically have been Tyrese, and Axel, and all of the other dead ones. So it doesn't really mean anything, but I really don't know. I don't play favorites. I mean, I like writing the scenes, and I like, telling the stories, and so depending on, who I'm dealing with at a certain time, I like them more. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I haven't written Rick in a few pages. I don't like that guy anymore. And then I write pages, and I'm like, I love Rick again. It rotates. Sorry, I didn't answer your question at all.
I was curious as to how the creative process through the television show, doing a crossover from comic book to TV, how that's been for you, and how involved you've been in it.
Well, I mean, I'm in the writers' room full time, so I'm, there while we're going on. Hey, let's have a jet plane come in and shoot lasers on people, and I'm like, oh, that's not a good idea. That's never happened, I should say. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm very involved in the process, but I'm also extremely open to the fact that the people I'm in the room with and the writers' room are better writers than me. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Damn it, why didn't I think of that? So, it's really rewarding and a lot of fun to be able to look at stuff that I wrote when I was 24, 25, 26 and be like, no, yeah, should have done it that way. Good idea. Damn it. And it's just, it's a fun process to be able to go back and do things differently and, improve things. Or, in some cases we stick to what I did. I'm like, yeah. But, I don't know. I really enjoy the fact that it is different. And the process for me is really exciting just because, everything is different. And if it was just a comic book over again, I would be bored. I wouldn't want to be there. Oh, we're just going to do, okay, that's again. The fact that, there are characters like Daryl Dixon that just don't exist as a comic. So there's huge differences, in the show. It is a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Four people like that. Oh, I said Daryl, that's what it was.
I've heard the zombie rooms from all night, and I was wondering if you had any tips on the making of these before.
Yeah, there's tips on how to make it through. Find the dead spots and rest, because I think there are a couple of points where there aren't zombies trying to get you. So yeah, that's good. And then there'll be people every now and then giving you water. Take that water. Awesome. Hey, what's up?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. So my question actually has to do with Carl. We've seen the evolution of Carl, actually he's one of my favorite characters. We've seen the evolution of him in this world of walkers, and now with the evolution of civilization coming together and how he's kind of grown up on it. Do you have any plans on bringing in other other children that will serve as like his peers or his nemesis that are around his age?
Yeah, I mean, if they survive the war, then, you know, there will be a somewhat larger cast. I don't want to talk about like where we're going too much. I don't want to give anything away, but there are plans for more children. I think we've already seen Sophia playing with some kids in the hilltop, and you know, Sophia's still around, and there's definitely going to be some stories involving her coming up, assuming she doesn't die in a war. Who knows? But yeah, there's definitely more of that coming. Awesome.
How you doing?
Great.
Sorry. My question was...
Just being honest, man.
My question is that we've seen a lot of development with the characters. My question is, will we be seeing any development as far as the walkers go? Because they have been this constant threat, but will they evolve as well, or are they going to be the same walkers and we're just dealing with the people's evolution as far as their emotions, their civilization and whatnot? Do they stay the same?
Well, the walkers are not evolving. I think that's a Romero trope that I should probably stay away from because I've done enough Romero tropes in Walking Dead. And I think that that was a great idea that he had for his movies. But for The Walking Dead, I think that those zombies, they're not evolving. They're dead corpses running around, and they will change over time just because of decay and different things that are affecting them. So we will see, there have been a few different zombies that they've encountered in recent issues where they're like, wait, what happened to this thing? Like, why is it like this? And they will continue to discover different things about them, but it's a process of them learning more about, what the zombies are and how they work, not the zombies changing themselves. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't make a joke at all during that.
Hi, I was just wondering, working with the television show, has it inspired or altered any of your plot lines in the books themselves?
No, it hasn't. I mean, most of the things that come up in the television show are dealing with adapting things far in the past. And so there hasn't really been a time where I've been in the writer's room and was like, ooh, that's cool, I can do that in the comic. I'm really fortunate in that The Walking Dead changes so much over time that the comic book is vastly different from the show, so that, even if I'm writing the same characters, the Rick Grimes that I'm writing in The Walking Dead comic right now is still very different from the Rick Grimes in the show, and the things that he does in the show just wouldn't translate to who he is now in the comic, and so it's very easy to not be inspired or affected in any way by the existence of the show, which is important to me because I feel like the show existed for a very long time, or the comic existed a very long time before the show did, and I don't want the existence of the show to change, how the stories are told in the comic or how the comic is, just because I feel like, I want it to be consistent throughout its run, and I don't want to feel like, having the show change anything, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Stefano, and I was just wondering if the Tigers are going to get some action in the upcoming war, how's it going to be able to distinguish between the good guys and the bad guys?
Well, maybe that's the thing. I mean, it would be very difficult for a Tiger to do that, wouldn't it?
Assuming he attacks Rick, or might even want to keep him on his leash.
The Tiger's going to be a problem. Looks cool though.
Hello, Robert. It was nice slapping soap on you last year at the Walking Dead. So.
Did you say slapping soap on you? Oh, that's right. Yeah, like soap on you. I remember that. Yeah, everyone else in the audience is like, what?
That's how you infect him as a zombie. You slap them on the soap.
Don't go into it. Don't ruin it.
My question, how many times have you stopped yourself from radically altering the course of the story for the past 10 years? Like, how many times have you spoken and said, I'm going to kill Rick Grimes today. I'm just going to nuke everything. I'm just going to burn this whole thing down. Like, how many times have you done that? Just stop yourself.
Far too often.
But more specifically, what change were you going to make that you just, at the last minute, were like, I can't.
I can't say because I might still do it. No, I don't know. I think the best example of that, and it's a little bit pre-issue 100, but I am going to spoil something. So if you want to plug your ears for a minute, I'll do this when I'm not talking. The Abraham death. I don't like it when people ask a question and then they sit down, and so now I'm just looking at a mic stand. So next question, like, you went over, I don't know where you are. Let's go. I don't know what that, I don't know what he says. Anyway, Abraham's death was something that wasn't planned, and you know, I wrote the end of that issue where he and Eugene are, you know, walking along, and Eugene's like, I'm going to keep you safe. And what was originally supposed to happen was that Dwight was going to attack, and they were going to have like a tussle. A tussle? I don't often need to use that word. And Abraham was going to survive, and they were just going to like run back to the whatever place they live in, Alexandria or whatever, and they were going to be fine, and then the story was going to continue. And I started plotting that issue after I finished one before it, and I was like, this is bullshit. There's no way they would get out of this. And so that's why Abraham dies on the second page of that comic. I thought it was really cool to come back after that, and, you know, and I was like, oh, that guy's dead. And I had a lot of plans for Abraham, and now I can't do them. But I like that because it forces me to come up with new ideas, and it forces me to like change story around. And I like that it mirrors life, and that, you know, people don't often die at times when it is convenient, and you know, it does wreck things. And I think that you know, it makes the book more spontaneous and cool. And now I feel like I'm rambling. So thank you very much, and I'm done talking about that spoilery thing. Right. How's it going?
Good, you?
I'm good.
All right. So me and my friend's the reason I started watching Walking Dead. I don't like zombies, I never did, but then he showed it to me and I'm like, ah, good God, that's actually kind of good.
Tell the guy I said thanks.
I will. And we've always had this kind of small argument. He says that the show is called Walking Dead because the main characters there, basically their days are numbered in this world, and they're basically just walking to their death. And my argument is like, well, no, I'm pretty sure the guys that are actually dead and walking are the Walking Dead.
You're right.
I'm just curious about your
Your friend is right.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to think. I mean, I like to keep it open. It is kind of a fun, like, play on words. You know, maybe it was originally meant to be about the zombies, and then, you know, it is kind of about the characters because, to a certain extent, everyone in the book is fated to die at some point, so they are just the Walking Dead. But I'm not like hoity-toity or artsy-fartsy, and so it's whatever you want it to be. I don't really care. So you can tell your friend that you are absolutely right, that he's lying.
I find Ezekiel to be one of the craziest characters I've ever run into the story. I just thought, like, why you want to bring a guy that has a tiger as a pet? And
awesome.
Where'd you get the idea?
I don't know. I think Ezekiel is important to the book. His existence and the way he is, and just how strange he is important. Just because I feel like as the book progresses, it's only the weirdest of the weird, or the like dastardly of the dastardly. Like an old timey guy now, with my tussles and my dastardly. Like it's guys like Negan, it's guys like Ezekiel who would have survived through this world to this point. I think that Rick Grimes, if you actually were to meet him today, would be like a really odd person that is just not really fun to be around, just because, you know, he's lived through all this stuff and he has done all this stuff, and he's just a really damaged individual. And so because we've been with Rick Grimes since the beginning, I feel like, you know, to a certain extent, you don't really notice it, you know? Like, you'll see him do crazy things sometimes and be like, well, that's crazy, he just did a crazy thing. But it's a little bit more apparent because you're meeting Ezekiel for the first time and he's already at that level. But I feel like it's just, you know, trying to be accurate to the world and introducing, you know, as weird people as possible, because all the nice people are dead. Awesome.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
I know it's a silly question, right? Everyone's asking that.
Yeah, I try to answer it differently every time, but then I get lying. It's going horribly.
Getting better. So,
The guy that asked the last question is like, I ruined it. All right, Jim.
I don't know how much you can answer my question, but is there ever a point that you see the book continuing without Rick?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, I'll say that no one is safe in the book. I mean, I've said that from the very beginning. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the book could survive Rick. I think that there are enough strong characters in the book that, you know, we can follow any one of them as a focus. I mean, you know, it would definitely change the series to a certain extent, but, you know, it could happen. It might happen soon. You never know.
So you're not afraid of Luna since he's like the key character from the beginning?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Thank you so much.
Except for ghosts. That's creepy. And birds. This is all true, by the way.
What's cracking, Rob? How you doing, man?
What is cracking?
Oh, well,
It's my man. Way to change it up.
got to switch it. My question is, what's up, man? You ever gonna bring the Vatos back or what?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm gonna take a chance, you know? It's good to see you, though, bro.
Cool. Yeah, there was Vato stuff in the season premiere of season 2 that got cut.
I know, I saw that. Like,
Yeah.
or whatever.
So they're dead. So you know they're dead.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
No, when you come back to the lobby, man. From LA.
Hello. I just wanted to know if any of the characters were based off like family or friends that you know of. So, like maybe Glenn was your college roommate or something, you know?
No, not really. I mean, there are certain aspects of me that have been put in some characters. Like I used to like work at a pizza place, so that's why Glenn used to work at a pizza place. And you know, I have dead heads in a fish tank. But no, I mean, there's not really any. I don't know. I get names from certain people. There's like a couple of friends of mine whose first names are used, but other than that, it's all just a bunch of fake people I made up. I feel like it's really, it would be really bad for me to base any characters off of people I know, because then I would kill them and they'd be like, why'd you do that, man? We didn't talk. Did I do something?
I mean, I would think it was an honor, but you know.
like, let's say, yeah, I mean, there's like, some people die in horrible ways. Like, you know, I had, I'm going to talk about that one thing again that was spoiled, but it's already been spoiled, so I don't mean, but like when I saw Stephen Young for the first time, like after Issue 100 came out, I was like, I got mad at him? Like, it was a personal thing? Like, it wasn't anything, it was just like a thing, and, you know, I had to be like, I didn't mean anything by that or anything, I'm just telling my stories here. He was like, I still hate you, it doesn't matter, like, I don't care.
Okay, thank you.
Would anybody else like to ask a question, or do we need to leave? It's all up to you. Maybe I can end early if any. Oh, run!
I want to make it here, you know.
Oh my God, thank you.
Beat anyone else out. So I think you've answered this a few times in the editor acts, like in the back. But
Oh, well then ask again.
just something, yeah, why not? Right here, but anyways.
Just let the panel end.
Did you anticipate getting as much flack for Carl's eye after that whole thing happened? Because when it first happened, the pictures.
Is that a spoiler for anyone?
You probably see it.
No offense, I'm just checking.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, it looked pretty bad. Like, it looked gruesome. But as it's kind of evolved, like, I think in the last few episodes, we've seen it more since he's taken the bandage off. And it doesn't look as bad. And I know some people kind of came back to you and like, hey, he was kind of like missing much more.
Well, there's some shadows there, and I think people misread the art from when he was shot. Like it looks like a little bit more of his head was missing than actually was. But,
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like when it first happened, like you were like.
But it looked cool, right? It looked really cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always anticipate flack at this point. Like anytime I do anything in the book, I'm like, people are gonna complain about this. But I don't know. I mean, I always seem to get a lot of letters like, I can't believe you did this. This sucks. But then they'll write back like 2 months later and be like, oh, it's changed my mind, it's awesome. So I just kind of try to like do what I do, but it's hard to anticipate like what people are going to be upset about. And, you know, I thought everybody would love the tiger, but there's like 5% of the audience that just can't stand the tiger. And those people can kiss my butt. So.
Well, yeah, in regards to the tiger, I love the tiger, but it is weird that you would keep
totally
it because, and I think you answered it too, that you would need to feed it what 5 people would eat, you know, so.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It all makes sense. Leave me alone.
Okay, so now that you're working with both the television format and the comic format, is there anything that you find more evocative in terms of storyline or character development that works on screen better than it does in the comics, or is there anything that you prefer, you know, in terms of evoking emotions on the page rather than you do on screen?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you can do more with less on the show just because you have the actors to like give facial expressions so they don't have to like talk as much. So it was sometimes hard for me to like realize that, you know, just because when you're dealing with still images in comics, you kind of have to, you know, go a little bit further to make sure that, you know, what you're trying to do comes across. And I love like having motion and sound for things in the show. Like it just really opens things up, and we're able to, you know, do cooler things and you know, different things that I think is really cool. I mean, there are things that we can only do in the comic that wouldn't really work in the show, and so I think there are benefits to both. So it's fun to be able to, you know, work in both mediums and see like, oh, this works in the show and this is really cool, and I can never do that in the comic. And then it's like, oh, I can do this in the comic, and that just wouldn't play in the show. So it's I don't know, I enjoy it.
So I have another Carl question. We've obviously seen him evolve. He's kind of become more of a man. He's growing up. But when he tried to kill Negan, that's not the first time that he's like been violent. Right? He's committed murder before.
He's troubled.
Yeah. But that's kind of like there's no real evolution for him aside from like the eye thing. He kind of became, I think, jaded way before he tried to kill Negan. Is there ever a point where he's gonna be like, fuck you, Rick, I'm sick of you, and like leave his dad?
Yeah, he's gonna kill Rick next issue. What do we say? I think there's still definitely places for him to go, and that evolution is going to continue. I think, you know, he's getting older. Terrible things continue to happen to him, but
because of Rick, I think that.
Maybe because of Rick. I don't know. I didn't put too much weight on the guy. Did he go with the zombie apocalypse before? You know that happened. Yeah, I mean, come on. That guy is doing the best he can. Anyway. How dare you? But, no, I mean, I don't know. I think you know, Rick is going to be treating him a little differently moving forward, especially going into this war. He's going to be a lot more capable. He's going to be trusted a lot more, and that might be a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, so Negan's a pretty ferocious guy, and I was wondering if when you're writing his dialogue, if the voice that you hear in your head is kind of like matching it as far as like depth and gravel goes, or if it's like ironically high pitched.
Yeah, it's basically Pee Wee Herman's voice in my head. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about the sound of their voice very much. So that hasn't really come to me. I don't know. I would imagine it's somewhat deep, but I don't know that it would necessarily be gravelly. It might sound like my voice.
We can substitute.
Most of the voices sound like my voice.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of the comic, the games, and the TV show in that order. And I know Glenn made a frequent appearance in the games. Are there any plans to bring any characters from the TV show or from the comic into the games?
I wouldn't want to spoil anything, but you know, you can possibly expect some more Easter eggs like that coming up. But I'm not going to confirm anything. But yeah, I mean, we like to do those kind of fun things, and I think it is like a cool payoff to the fans who read the comic that are actually playing the games. We'd like to do more of it.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is, how is Rick and the rest of the group going to react when they find out that Negan is actually working for Ezekiel?
That's not happening. acted like I was writing it down. He had his back turned. What's up?
Hey, thanks for coming out.
Oh, thanks.
2 questions right now. Are there going to be more webisodes for season 4?
I believe there are, but don't quote me on that. I'm like 90% sure that there will be, but I feel like I'm possibly announcing something I shouldn't be announcing yet. But whatever, it's Comic-Con! Let's have some fun!
If we enjoy them, we'd like to see them. Cool. Okay. Next question is AMC trying to sabotage the show by firing all the executive producers every season?
Yes. It's in their best interest to do that.
Should Scott Kimball be updating the resume?
I think Scott will do just fine, but if he doesn't, well...
Okay, sticks around. Okay, thanks.
My question is, I know like Daryl Dixon in the show, like his popularity just blew up out of nowhere. Like, I mean,
Daryl Dixon, everybody!
I always loved Norman Reedus, an actor, and when I saw him in there, I thought he was just great, and I loved his character. And
Well, I like Daryl Dixon. I'm not too hot on Norman Reedus.
I've heard a lot
Totally
of
hot on Norman Reedus. Who are we kidding? Anyway.
But I've heard a lot of talk that like you might introduce Daryl Dixon's character into the comics. Have you ever thought of doing that?
I mean, I thought about it, but in the end, I like that there's certain things that you can only get from different mediums. So, like, you've got Lee Everett and all those characters in the video game, and they only exist in the video game. And you've got guys like Daryl Dixon and Merle and some of the other characters that only exist in the show. And I think it's and there's characters in the comic that just won't make it into the show. And I think it's cool that, when you go across these different mediums, there is something special and unique to each one of them. So I feel like it would, to a certain extent, kind of ruin things to have Daryl in the comic book, but, you never know, but it's probably never going to happen. All right, but you never know, but it's never going to happen.
Hello, Robert.
Breathe, you'll be all right. It's all good.
You're great.
We're all friends here.
Okay, so I have a question. Do you have at some point showing what's going on out the world? Like, is there hope there? Is there the world is doomed or something?
Well, I mean, are you talking about like showing other parts
Like
of the
other
world?
continents?
Yeah, other continents. I know that in the show we mentioned that, there were things going on in France, and that was pretty much confirmed to be a worldwide phenomenon, but for the comic, I've always tried to stay coy with it, because I like the idea of, like, a bunch of people in Australia that are like, well, I'm just not talking to anybody on the phone. They know other countries, but other than that, we're just fine here. So I like the mystery of it, and I'm sure that at some point, eventually, there will be, a bigger picture, and people will know what's going on. But I love the fact that the story is like laser focused on these people and their experiences, and you really don't even know what's going on the West Coast, let alone other countries.
Also, can you author my #1 comic?
Nope.
The Walking Dead.
Sorry. No, I'll do it for you. But no one else!
I actually haven't read or watched the show I'm Here with Friends, so for people who want to get into the series, would you recommend watching or reading first?
Reading! Watching, definitely. I'm very proud of the fact that the show doesn't spoil the comic and the comic doesn't spoil the show. So if it's going to take you 6 months to get around to reading the comic, but you might watch the show this week, watch the show. But, either way, these people say reading, so I'm just going to say reading, so there's like a knob or anything.
This question is actually for my daughter, who's an avid fan, but she had to take her boys over to the Xbox room.
It sounds like an avid fan to me.
The boys are great, but, after a whole...
Why didn't you take the boys to the Xbox? Why didn't someone ask me? I couldn't work this out.
So I'm taking them to the Crab Shack on Saturday.
Okay. One thing enjoy that. The Crab Shack is pretty good.
The question is, how are you so nice when your comic is so brutal?
I don't know if you've been paying attention during this panel. I'm pretty pointed with a few people. And sometimes I regret it because I'm trying to crack jokes and then I'm like, that guy hates me, he's going to punch me or this. I don't know. But I don't know, I feel like I get it all out on the page. But yeah, I mean, I'm making stuff up. Like I'm not like a lot of people meet me and they're like, wow, I really expected like a quiet, brooding type. You know, I didn't expect you to be so cheerful. And you know, I don't know. I mean, it's just like stories I'm making up. It's not like it's like part of my life that I have like issues that I'm getting through. There are some issues that I'm getting through. Let's be honest. But I don't really know. I don't know how to answer your question, so I'm just gonna keep talking until this panel's over. Thank you very much.
Hello. I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask this, but
well, go for it.
Before the panel, your Skybound put out this picture, and I haven't seen anything to do with this. So
yeah, that's a teaser. It's meant to intrigue.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking. What is the teasing?
It's a teaser. You're supposed to be like, what is this? I have no idea what this is.
That's what I'm doing, man.
That's what I'm doing. But I can't tell you what it is. That ruins it. There will be another one tomorrow and another one the next day, and then you will possibly know what it is at the Skybound panel.
Are you
We'll
promising?
announce what that is at the Skybound panel. So if you guys want to, huh?
Is that a promise?
Yeah. Oh, that's set in stone. So check the internet. There's a teaser today, teaser tomorrow, teaser the day after tomorrow, whatever day that is. And then on that day, whatever day that is that Saturday? Is today Thursday? Yeah. All right. It's Comic-Con. I have no clue. It could be 2 in the morning right now and I wouldn't know it. Like I would walk off stage and someone would be like, gosh, it's already 3 in the morning. And I'd go, oh, okay. I have no idea. But anyway, we'll be announcing that at the panel. So if you want to look at your program and go to the Skybound panel, please do. The announcement will be online, so you don't have to.
Hi, Robert. As an Australian, thank you for leaving us the hell alone. Thanks on behalf of the entire country. There's not a lot of us. Thank you.
You represent like what, 4% of the population? 8% of the population?
Yeah, about 17 other people there. That's about pretty cool. Just wanted to ask, I heard about Stephen King and his writing style, and he says, in the morning, that's his writing, that's where he works on his projects, then afternoon his letters, evening is whatever the hell he wants to do, Red Sox games, the whole thing. Do you have a particular style? Do you have a particular time of day? Or does inspiration come and you're just going to write, gotta crank it out now?
It's just all hours of the day. I mean, a lot of times I'll get up early and I'll get some writing done before I have to go in the writer's room, but sometimes I'm catching a flight, so I'll write on the plane. Sometimes I'm at Comic-Con, I have to do a bunch of stuff, and then I'll write a little bit at night after the con. I'm not writing anything tonight, it's a complete lie. You know, it's just all hours of the day. Like, sometimes I have to watch my kids, and so I'm at my kitchen table writing while they break each other's arms. Because I'm not watching them. Don't tell my wife. You know, I don't know, it's a mess. It's a mess. I wish I could wake up and like just write for like 4 or 5 hours or whatever Stephen King does, but he's, you know, better than me for a reason. So.
Thanks very much.
Maybe someday I'll get to that.
Thanks very much. Thanks for 10 great years and here's the tell.
Thank you. I'll get more. Hold on.
Okay, so I'm here with my friend who plans to attend Comic-Con this year.
No one comes to this panel.
Yeah, I know. It's such a shame. I know.
Hey, go to that panel for me. I'm a big fan, but just go to the
I don't care.
care.
So she sent me these texts and she wants me to ask these questions for you.
Okay. How many? Is it like 30 questions?
No, it's 2.
All right, that's good.
But she wants to know if the group would be more inclined to live life on the road or try to settle down again due to the negative experiences that they've had.
I think settling down is definitely the answer. I mean, that's where they seem to survive the longest when they're, you know, in the prison or in Alexandria. So I think that's always the ideal situation. It may not always be possible due to circumstances like Negan or something else, but I think, you know, the idea is that they would try to stay in a central location whenever they can.
Okay, and the second one is, who was...
Are you writing this down? You
No,
gotta get this
no,
down.
she's videotaping it actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
Who wears the pants and Glenn and Maggie's relationship next season?
I'm sorry, I was doing like a hand motion.
Yeah, who wears the pants? And
who wears the pants?
Yes.
Oh, Maggie.
Really, no more questions?
We out of questions again? Wait, how many more minutes we got? I sound like a, come on, dude, help me out.
5-ish.
5-ish? All right, you want me to just riff? Just riff? You just don't want to ask questions? Am I not answering questions the way you like? What's up?
If you had one, well, it's a two-part question. If you have one, what's your favorite story? And
My favorite story?
yeah, like not just
The Giving Tree. It's so sad. I read it to my son and he's like, why are you crying? The kid got everything he wanted. I don't know why. And I'm like, oh, I'm raising a terrible kid.
And my second part was, what inspired you to make your story in a zombie apocalypse?
I think it's just a fun world to play in. I mean, I love seeing, I love apocalyptic stories. I love the idea of civilization crumbling and, what do we do, I often think about the structure of modern society and how it may have been a mistake. Like that whole, I don't know, I go out and I grow food and then I eat it. And then I hang out in my cabin and then eventually we were like, no, I'll have someone else make my food and I'll work and I'll pay for that. Like, what? Why did we do that? And so, I don't know, I think about this stuff and it just seems very interesting to me. And the zombie apocalypse in particular, it just seems like a really rich, well of I can do all kinds of different things and tell all kinds of different stories, within the parameters of that kind of a story. So, The Giving Tree!
My question is about the Dixons. Since they're not in the comic books, why did you incorporate them into the TV show?
Well, that was something that came from the writers' room in the first season and from Frank Darabont. Merle was in the second episode, and then we ended up. Actually, the story is that Norman Reedus tested for Merle, but Michael Rooker got the role, and we all loved Norman Reedus so much that we ended up creating another character for him. So that's kind of where it all came from. It's the hair. Those little dangly things.
Hi, I'm a
It works for him, I don't know.
I'm a newbie to your comic books, but I always watch the show. I am curious to know how the storyline came to you. I mean, were you influenced since you were a young boy with all, different books that you were reading, shows that you watched? And, or did certain things come to you in dreams, and then from there you were inspired to
Dreams, sure. Look, the main thing was I love zombie movies. I hated how they ended. I just thought, well, that they went off in a helicopter, and where did they go? I want to know where they went. I want to know where they landed and what happened when they landed and how they carried on and if they met anyone else and what they were like and if they had pizza. Could they have pizza? It seems like you could make pizza in this world. And I just thought that it would be. There wasn't any other long-term people are going to survive for years and years in this story and we're going to watch that, I just thought it would be fun to do. And dreams.
So the show and the comic have obviously diverged from each other, or at least the show's not caught up to the comic yet. Is the show destined to kind of follow the comic as closely as it can? Or they're talking about Glenn, and I'm kind of bummed about that, but is he destined to die in the show now? Or
no, I think the show has proven that characters that have died in the comic may not die in the show, and characters that have not died in the comic are totally dying in the show all the time. It's something that it's something I think is really cool. I mean, I think that the coolest aspect of the Walking Dead comic is that when you sit down to read an issue, you have no idea what's going to happen. And I wanted that to be true of the show, even if you've read the comic. And I think it's so much fun for me to be like, they're never going to expect us to kill that person. I don't know. Neither of them really dictate the other one. It's not set in stone that the things that are in the comic will make it into the show, but they will always, the show will always, borrow from the comic and adapt the comic. It'll just always be in cool and interesting ways that you wouldn't expect.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us tonight, man.
I am rethinking it.
I have a question about Negan. He's probably my favorite comic book character at the moment.
Awesome. Suck it, Spider-Man!
how did you think of the idea for this character, and will we ever get any like backstory on what his life was like before the apocalypse?
I answered this question earlier, didn't I? It was like a terrible
I came in a couple minutes late, so
well,
my
then
apologies.
that's your fault.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely explore his backstory, you know, a little bit as soon as he doesn't die. Was that word for word? I just want to make sure that was right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we'll know a lot more about him eventually, before he dies. And then
So I have a pretty simple question. What's your favorite comic series and TV show happening right now that's not Walking Dead?
Savage Dragon has been my favorite comic forever, and not forever, but for a long time. I really enjoy that book. My favorite like modern comic that just started, I think, is probably Manhattan Projects. I think the comic is totally crazy. I gotta say Saga is fantastic. I love Saga. But, Manhattan Projects is better. But I think not really. But anyway, as far as TV show goes, Breaking Bad, super excited. And I actually really enjoy Sons of Anarchy. It's probably my favorite show. We done? Want to wrap it up now? I gotta say, I'm just gonna end this panel really quick, but I just want to say that I am extremely disappointed in all of you. The fact that there were dead spots in the, this is an Image First #1. I thought it was an actual Walking Dead #1. It's hardly even worth my time to say this. You know, look, I rely on you people for these panels, and I don't prepare for them at all in any way whatsoever. Now, when I don't have questions, I'm sorry about that. It puts a tremendous amount of pressure on me, and it's something I'm certainly not prepared for. And I don't feel like we're doing our equal share in this endeavor. You know, it's a give and a take. It's a push and a pull, and I expected more from you people. And emphasis on if we do this again next year, I expect better. Thank you very much.